What's going on? This is Ugo Opara, PA licensed real estate agent and investor, and I got my client,
Nick Wilson.
Yeah.
What's up? My name is Nick Wilson. Just bought a property in West Philadelphia.
Nice.
And
how many units?
3 units. And the interesting thing is that I didn't meet Ugo first as my realtor, but I met him first as a wrestling partner when we were in high school together.
Which high school?
Penn Wood High School.
Penn Wood High School. This was
Lansdowne.
What? 2009? 10?
Yeah. Like between, like 2008, 2009, something like that.
Wow.
No, wait. No, not 2008.
2008, I left.
Further
It
back.
was further back. That's like 2006 or 7.
Yeah, like 2006 or 7, yeah.
I didn't have none of this.
Nope. I don't know. 2006, actually. It was 2006. That's crazy.
That is crazy. When you stop and fact check that, that's ridiculous.
Almost 15 years ago.
Almost 15 years ago. Wow.
Damn.
Wow. So, anyways, we're doing a real testimonial. I don't like to sugarcoat anything, giving you guys the facts. A lot of people in real estate will make it sound oh so glamorous, HGTV. I'm not going to drop no names. And I just like to keep it real. And, me and Nick had quite the relationship prior to this. And, it was just a journey. Some transactions aren't just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But I think at the end of the day, from what I saw that he had picked, all the other properties, I think this is by far one of my favorite properties personally. It's in an area where I think of all the areas that we did look at, this one shows the most potential for growth and the most potential for cash flow for several reasons. But let's just, Nick, start all the way from the beginning and unpack the journey that has led us to here.
All right, so anybody who says that, first of all, being married or having a kid can stop you from following your dreams, that is a lie.
Oh, yeah.
I would actually say that getting married and having the responsibility of having a kid actually was one of the best things that caused me to really step up to the plate. So if it was just me, I could have chilled and had an apartment and whatnot. But since I was about to be married and then later on have a kid, it was urgent for me to try to find a property. So we hit the ground running trying to find properties. Reached out to Ugo because I knew that he was a realtor, and he introduced me to a program called NACA, which was no money down, no closing costs, no PMI, and they don't even do it based off of your credit score, but based off of your payment history. And so, went through the classes and went through all the workshops and the sessions that had to take place, and it took quite a long time in order for me to actually get approved. But fast forward, we get approved and we hit the ground running with Ugo looking at different properties. We went from Norristown to Philadelphia
to
Jersey to Delaware.
Back Jersey, back to Philadelphia, then Delaware, back to PA.
Willow Grove. We went to a property in Willow Grove.
Yes.
Just like all over the place, just to be able to find a multifamily property where we would be able to house hack it and either break even or cash flow. That was really important to me and my wife so that we could lower our expenses but build our wealth. And just as a testament to this, like I'm grateful to God for the fact that we have this property, but this was not just a overnight thing. Like me and Ugo and my wife have been trying to find properties for about a year and a half now. We almost were able to close on one property in Delaware, and we lost money trying to even acquire that property due to a lot of different things. But the one thing that I learned throughout this whole process is 2 things actually. The first one is like the importance of persistence and just keeping an eye on the bigger picture of things.
Yes.
Because if we would quit at any point, we wouldn't be here right now. And it was actually really cool because we have a son now. We didn't have a son when we first were doing this. We have a son now, and he's able to see the process happen. And then the second thing is just to be able to have the right people in your corner. And I'm not just saying that because he's right here next to me, but it really has been a huge benefit having Ugo. Because
I paid him to say this.
as he said, like we went to Jersey and Delaware, but the thing that wasn't said was that he wasn't licensed in those states, but he recommended people for me. So it was like, listen, I'm not going to get money off of this, but I still want to look out for you. And one of the things that I saw was as I was working with other agents, I actually was starting to feel some type of way because I felt like they were like slacking, but it wasn't that they were slacking. They were doing their job. It's just that Ugo does so much that he makes other people makes other people look like bad agents. Now, he could have just told me 2 people he knew was trash, but I don't really think that's in his character.
Nah.
But yeah, he goes above and beyond. So a couple of things that he did when we first started working together, he sent out a video to just walk through the steps of his process as a real estate agent, you know, how we want to go through the process, the systems of doing it. And then on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, he would just do videos teaching me about real estate, teaching me how to run through numbers, teaching me like going through the MLS with me and telling me about different properties, why they're good ones, why they're bad ones. And it's actually interesting that you haven't done that recently, but I think that's because you have taught me enough that I can be able to do it independently on my own.
Young grasshopper.
So it's less conversations now, and it's more just like, just an acknowledgement on both sides, like, yeah, this is a good deal, this is not a good deal.
And I have to do that because what happened earlier on in real estate is there's the bus analogy, right? Where if I got hit by a bus, I don't want my clients to not know how to get a deal. You know what I mean? I want my clients to still be able to go out there. So that's why I did that, not to say, hey, you know, I'm cutting you off. It's to say, like, all right, let me start weaning you off and then seeing what your deals are like that you're presenting to me. And I was really proud because, you know, we took a little bit of break. But when we came back, a lot of the deals you were sending me, you were sending me smaller deals, but they were all like legit solid deals that I personally would look at in neighborhoods that I already own property and I was looking for, like the grocery store one. We never got to go look into that. That was something I would have bought like just like sight unseen. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I was really proud to see the from the old you where you're like just bright eyed and bushy tailed, like, what is cash flow? Like, how do I calculate it? What are my expenses? To like, yeah, so this is looking like $800 a month if I do this. What, you know, what are your thoughts on that? You know what? If you did, you know, if you put a washer and dryer, it'll cost you this much, but then you might be able to do like that. That was the conversation because a lot of the fundamentals, you know, you're able to understand it the way I understand it. So now we just talk different level talking. You know, to me that's a blessing to have someone that I grew up with, went to high school with, wrestled with, to be able to talk that money talk. I'm really proud of that, honestly. Yeah.
I appreciate it too. Yeah, man, it's been an uphill battle.
Yes.
Things that people won't. Things people won't know about. But when we lost that first property, or we didn't get that first property, it was high stakes because my wife was pregnant. We were trying to find a place for her to be able to settle down with a son on the way, and we had to eat that. So we had to extend our lease for 2 months, pay extra money that we didn't have, and then we ended up having to move into my in-laws' house. So like there was a decent period of suck, like it really was. But like with every adversity, you just buckle down and you do what you have to do. And I'm just grateful because. I'm grateful because now we're in a position to win.
Correct. And what I'm excited for is several times, like, you know, we did the final walkthrough today. Final walkthrough wasn't even perfect. I mean, there were still issues where it's just like the seller's letting us down, the seller's agent is letting us down. Like I'm thinking I should show you guys screenshots of the text messages, but I cannot. But it's just like foolishness. Like, yo, oh, we'll get the tree down this weekend. Weekend comes, yo, why is the tree not down? Oh, well, because of the rain. Well, why didn't you tell us? Oh, because I didn't get a chance. Okay, well, all right, get it done on Monday. We drive by the house, it's not done Monday. All right, we'll get it done by Tuesday. Drive by the house, it's not done on Tuesday. All right, we'll get it early afternoon. I mean, we literally went, what, 3:45 we were there. We were at the house at 3:45 for a 5 o'clock settlement. And the tree is not even
halfway cut.
And it's just like you got 2 guys and all their power tools, and not to their credit, they were working, but at the same time, it's like, yo, they should have been working 24 hours.
I said they were working.
It was on break. I don't know.
Because at 12 o'clock they sent the picture and the tree looked the exact same way.
This is true. This is true. I pulled up like, this is true. You're absolutely right. But you know, at the same token, sometimes, and this is with life, man. Sometimes you got to think like, well. And this was actual conversation. Are we going to hold up settlement over this tree? You know, is this tree that
The hill we're gonna die on.
yeah, is this what we're gonna die on? And that's not just gonna happen on this deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just gonna happen in real estate. It's gonna constantly come up in life, and sometimes you just gotta be the bigger person and say, you know. So we actually went out on a limb. We went out on a limb, and we're gonna hold the seller to cutting the trees down. And if not, then you know we'll figure it out ourselves and move forward. Because what the important thing is we have ownership of the property, and you know, sometimes it's not always a win now, but what I've learned in real estate, especially when you buy right, which I strongly believe we did, it's going to be a guaranteed win later. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that doesn't get touted or tooted. What is it? Touted?
I don't know.
I don't even know. It doesn't get referenced enough. I think real estate is one of the snowball method of real estate is just so. For example, like. What are you projecting the cash flow on that property? I mean, you guys are going to break even. You guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were not occupying the property, because I mean, you guys are saving on rent.
Yeah. Well, it's basically now just going to cover our utilities. We'll probably cash flow about maybe $230. But like once we move out, that's a whole nother unit there, so that could be an extra about $650-$700. So close to $1,000 once we move out.
So $1,000 a month on your first property.
That's not including like the it's an add value for the different units. So
correct. Yep.
So,
yeah.
It'll be more than that.
I'm excited to see what he does with that. That's another thing, and I will say the area that you're buying in, there's a lot of LLC purchases. So anytime you see a lot of LLC purchases, that just means that its investors are heavily. So I just want you to understand that I am one of these LLCs. So if you see anything out there, bro, partner up, because that area is hot. And what happens, right? What I've learned is that areas don't become hot because they're hot. Areas become hot like unseen. They become hot on paper. Like let me show you that. They become, you know, this is a D package. They become like right now in this room thousands of times a month. That's how a neighborhood becomes hot. And then after he does his renovations and makes it looks nice, and now the rent went from $700 to $850, $900. Now it's like, oh, it's hot because you have 1,000 investors that have upgraded 1,000 properties, and now the neighborhood doesn't even look like crap anymore. So that is what I love about the area that he bought in, is because there's a lot of corporations doing exactly what he is doing. So, but all right, Nick, what word of advice would you give to? We didn't talk about. So you started with NACA and then you left. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So
be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I was working to get approved with NACA for about a year to 2 years. Like the process was ridiculously long. It's just understaffed, and I'm speaking for myself, unprofessional. Like I wouldn't receive emails unless I called in, or I wouldn't get emails responded back to unless I called in constantly, or I had literally showed up to the actual place. So it cost us, you know, in terms of having a pushback settlement for the first property we were trying to do. You know, it's like one of those things where if you're willing to eat shit, you know, you'll save a lot of money. But also, like, the other side to that is you can also lose a lot of deals because it takes so long. I think that without having to just completely throw manure on them, like, just it's a great program. It's an open door for a lot of different people, but my timeline was different, and just their process of doing things just didn't align with what we needed. So
yeah, and then also for Nick, just the owner occupancy aspect of it as well. Nick isn't going to be in the property that he bought for.
Oh yeah,
he's not going to be. 2 years. You know what I mean? No. We're gonna buy more underneath an LLC, but in 2 years, maybe 3 years, or whatever, we sliding out this showing, we leveling up, and we taking it from there. So that would be something that you're not allowed to do with NACA. NACA says you have to occupy the property for the life of the mortgage, and we got some loopholes for that. But in building your portfolio, that is something to seriously consider. I'm a risk taker. You know what I mean? I don't, but again, I don't have a wife and kids, right? So it's a whole different level of like, well, what are we doing with this foundation when you have the wife and kids? Because I don't even know who I'm going to become once I have wife and kids. You look at them wrong, it might shoot you. I don't know. I don't even know what's gonna. You know what I mean? So, but I do understand that a lot of the risk taking gets has to, because you have so much at stake, so much to lose, so much to protect. So that mandatory, you must own, you must live in this property for the life of the loan, I think was probably one of the most biggest hindrances for, investor Nick over here. And you know what I mean? And that's important. I love NACA. I went through NACA, highly recommend it. I'm probably one of their top, not probably, I am their top agent.
Yeah, talk that talk.
Yeah, talk that talk. But it's because I'm committed to it. But at the same token, just like Nick says, and he's went through the program and he left the program, and we made it happen outside the program. So don't think that, if you can't do NACA, you're stuck. It's not the case. Here's someone who's completely proven it. And Nick isn't a millionaire, you know what I mean? He's not someone who's balling and you do pretty well, bro. You guys are all right. He's not someone who's balling in like a bunch of money, but he was still able to, off the muscle, make it happen. And again, this is a 1.5-year journey. A lot of people, what bugs me is you get a lot of people say, "Hey, Ugo, can I pick your brain about real estate?" And they're thinking they're gonna make 50, 60 grand in like a year, and I'm like, no. You're just not. And then they fall off, and then they're not interested in picking my brand anymore. But it's sad, right? Or, you know what I mean? But the thing with real estate, like, if you look at it like a 5-year window, there's no reason why you can't make 10 grand in 5 years. I've seen it happen. I'm on track to make it happen, and I'm helping other people. He's going to do it. He's definitely going to do it. So it's just, there's just so many gem drops that happen in this whole transaction, and Nick is such a good scholar, because a lot of the questions that he would ask me were just so segmented, but when you put them all together, you can kind of see the bigger picture that he was trying to create by breaking it down. So he understood every piece of it, and I just loved it. You know what I mean? He'd be like, "All right, one more question," and I would love it. And then he would own up like, "Yeah, all right, I have no idea what you're talking about," or like, "I'm completely confused," or like, or well, yesterday you said what? Like, explain
talk to me as if I'm dumb and have no idid what you're talking
exactly.
about.
And I was like, man, I love that. All right, cool, let's go. Here's what it means. But when you what that does to me is it forces me to make sure I understand what I know, because in order to break it down so that if he doesn't have no clue what's going on, I have to up how much I understand it to make sure that he can understand it as someone that's just not hearing about it for the first time. And I love Nick for always challenging and keeping me on my toes. I would never present something and he would just, oh yeah, like, take it as face value. There were several questions underneath it to make sure he understood it before we move forward. And so many times I'm working with clients, like, I love that y'all trust me so much. I love it. But, I'd take 30 minutes putting together an agreement to sell, and I'd send it over. I get it back in like 5 minutes. I'm like, no way. You know what I mean? Yeah, come on. Go back and read this. You know what I mean? And things like that. So, but yeah, what words of advice would you give to anyone that's looking at you? And I love what you said about, like, how having a wife and kids is gonna keep you from your dreams, and for you, Sonia, the opposite. Just take some time and just kind of maybe talk to young Nick. What advice, knowing what you know now, if you were able to get in a time machine 5 years back, what advice would you give to young Nick as it pertains to, leveraging real estate, your understanding of finances, the whole ordeal that you just went through, the whole 1.5 years of it? What advice would you give to young Nick and anyone else that's like watching this?
Yeah. So like number one is just information, just being informed. Biggerpockets.com, going to real estate meetups. There's plenty of them in Philadelphia, plenty of them in Delaware County. And just making sure that you're like informed about what is out there, because as Ugo says, there's so much money out there to be made.
Yes.
So many different ways of doing it. And so just finding what your niche is with that. The second thing I would say is being aligned with the right people. So like being aligned with Ugo was a huge step for me, because it wasn't just an agent, but it was also like it was really a mentor on the investing side of things. And then also like other things too, like if you like with us, because we had to go through different properties, like now I know what inspector to go with. Now I know what inspector not to go with, different things like that. Third thing I would say is just like looking at the bigger picture of things. Let me take a step back. Third, I would say is set goals, like know what you want to do in the next 3-5 years, and then backwards plan from there.
Yep.
And then being able to really think about the bigger picture of things, because in the grand scheme of things, like we could have been arguing over the tree, but this property is a blessing, but this property is like literally one step in a much bigger thing that we're trying to accomplish. And the tree, like $1,000 to even, so let's say if it was $5,000, will mean nothing for the money that we're going to be making in 3 years, 5 years, 20 years. So just thinking of the bigger picture and driving from there. And I guess lastly, faith and like counting on the things that you can't have an answer to, counting on the things that you can't control, and like being okay with that. Like the motto for me and my wife throughout this is just like God has us covered. Yep. So even if we go back and this tree's not done, even if we go there and then the roof falls down, like we're covered, and we'll get through it because like, you know, it's all part of the plan. There's a bigger purpose. So that's what I'd say.
I love that last one. I think so many people, and not to get super religious, dude. I think so many people move without sight, and it's just like the fact that you're moving. You know what I mean? Like people are like, so many people are like, oh, this happened, or oh, they put 2 offers, and oh my god, relax, yo. Like you gotta understand, like it takes so many things to work just for you to like have a thought and it to come out your mouth while you're breathing long. Like if you just think about how many things have to go right for your human body just to work, saliva, your eardrums, your eyes, like your hair, like it's just so out of this world how blessed people are just from being that, you know, sometimes I just you know, when clients come to me with these issues, like it's so hard for me to relate because I'm just, like you said, I'm just so big picture thinking. Like, it's just like, man, that ain't even an issue. Oh, man. You know what I mean? So I thank you for bringing that up because a lot of times, you know, in business, it's all about the money. It's all about the cash flow. But I think that last topic that you mentioned is it's the glue that kind of holds all of this together, because without that, what is any of this for? You know what I mean? You know, we're all just moving in representation of, and I just think that's important. Right. Cool. So, Mr. Nick, you are now a landlord, and
I can officially say I'm an investor.
Yep, officially say you're an investor, and I think you did really well on your first triplex. You know what I mean? You ain't beat me with a 4-unit, but
no, I didn't. I'm getting there though.
You get in there. You get in there.
I'm gonna sneak up on you.
You know what I mean? You beat me in what matters. You got a wife and kids. You crushed me with that one, man. So, you know, big ups to you. And I definitely want to do a recap maybe a year from now to see where you're at with the property and just kind of come back, you know what I mean? And now, you know, you're live in full effect. This is going to go on YouTube, so now the world
I gotta do it.
is going to hold you accountable. So it's either I'm going to be here talking with you, or I'm going to be here saying, yo, let me tell you about this boy Nick that just disappeared. So I love it. I love it. And that's going to hold me accountable because, you know, I also want to be able to say, hey, all right, well, you know, since we last settled, here's what I've done, here's what you have done, and just kind of, you know, build it from there. You know, as much as I'm doing in this business, there's not a lot of brothers that you can kind of rub shoulders with. You know, believe it or not, it's really not. It's like this small, and we just keep circling around the same people. It's literally this small. Yeah. We're all on Instagram, and we're just like from each other. Is it? It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I like to pack that up. Yeah. Unpack that at a different time.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. I know we got wifey and little baby waiting for us, and they're about to kick us out this office. So that is it for this interlude. Thank you, Mr. Nick, and we'll be in touch.